everybody, welcome back to Lifestyle of the Believer. This is Gia Roberts, and this is our second video in our pre-prime series in honor of the Prime of My Life Young Adult Conference that's coming up on May the 27th and 28th, that is being held at the Hollywood Family Church of God of Prophecy. Check the box on the bottom so that you can get all of the information and see how you can make it there. So I'm going to go on to the second video, and this time, the last time I spoke to the singles, and I'm not even done with the singles because I got some questions that I want to address. I got some questions that I want to address. So instead of just talking to the singles, I want to talk to the single ladies, and then I want to talk to the single men. But for tonight, we're talking to the married folks, and I don't claim to be an expert on marriage. But I will speak from experience. This year I will be celebrating 14 years of marriage with my king and my husband, my head, and I think I've learned some things along the way, so I want to share with you. And I did write some things down because I wanted to make sure that I hit these topics. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes because I want to make sure that I hit these things that I want to share with you for our married primies. So the first thing is, don't try to make your marriage like anyone else. And it's a rule for marriage, but it's the same rule that you've heard all your life about don't try to be like anyone else. You can only be you, and your marriage can only be yours. When we first got married, there were things that we wanted to have. And there were things that people who were our age that they had. They kind of like, I don't know how it happened, but they were married and it seemed as if, because you don't really know what people had to do in order to get what they have. So you can't really want what they have because you would have to do what they had to do to get what they got, and you don't know. So there were people who they got married and it seemed like they just hit the ground running. You know, they had the car and they got the house right away and they got this and that. And we did not start off that way. I mean, we had to work from the ground up, thank God. But God has been with us and He has kept us. But there were times when we looked at what other people had, and I'm even saying more specifically myself. I looked at what other people had, and I'm just like, well, you know, why can't we have this, and why can't we have that? So I'm saying that because that can cause division, and it can cause stress, and it can cause trouble in your marriage. Why? Because all of a sudden, and you know, this goes for the wife or the husband, you're putting pressure on your husband to get you something that you know that you aren't able to get right now. And it's okay for you to work together as a team to say, we want this and we're going to get this. But when you disparage your spouse and why can't we have this, and if you worked harder, if you did this or you did that or whatever. And so it's easy. It's easy to look at somebody who is your age or somebody who is close to your age and see what they have and create pressure in your marriage or pressure your spouse to have it. Don't worry about having the kids that somebody else has, and you know, they're this age and they already have kids, and you know, if your husband or your wife is saying let's wait, you guys agree together to wait. Do it because you want to do it. Do it because this is something that you've agreed on, that you want to do together, that you're ready for, but not because anyone have it, because you're going to find yourself in problems. So that's the first thing. The second thing I wrote down is keep private things private. Don't let anyone into your business. They don't need to know what's happening in your business, in your marriage. And it's basically a basic principle that if you speak negatively about someone, when things are good or when things are bad and you go and you speak negatively about someone, it's hard for somebody who is on the outside to see that person the way you see them when things get better. So yes, you will have your hard times, and yes, you will have your difficult times, and yes, you will have your challenging, but don't go to your girlfriend and talk about what's going on in your marriage. Don't go to your mother, and don't go to your dad. Go to God. And I'm not even saying that as in like, you know, I mean that like from the depths of my heart, everything that's in me. When you are having problems in your marriage, your first line of resource or your first source that you should go to is God. You go to God and you you pray about it, and you ask him, what does he want you to do? And believe me, he will speak to you. But don't go to anyone else and speak negatively about your wife, and don't go out and speak negatively to anyone else about your husband, because then you have invited individuals into your marriage. And once you invite people in, it's hard to get people out. People now know your business, and now they feel like they have a right to know what's going on because you've told them all of this information. I mean, and there's so many other reasons why you're not supposed to let people into your marriage, or why you're supposed to keep private matters private. But definitely, this is your queen. This is your king. And you want to have the highest reputation of them in public. So don't speak negatively about them. Keep your private matters private. If you guys have to eat peanut butter and jelly, you go in your house and you eat peanut butter and jelly, and when you come out, your belly is full, and you're like, no one has to know. No one has to know unless you want somebody, you're seeking help for something. But just to say, well, child, he ain't working. I don't know the last time he brought food in the house, and she don't clean the house, and she don't do this, and she don't that. Work it out together. And if you have to seek help from somebody that is a counselor that you could trust. But don't just put your business out there to any and everybody, because then people start giving you advice. And then you want to know why everybody's always in my business. So, I mean, I'm going to leave that right there. But definitely keep private matters private. The third thing is in Ephesians, the 5th chapter, in the 33rd verse, the Bible instructs husbands to love their wives. And it instructs women to respect and reverence their husbands. The Bible never tells the woman to love her husband. You want to love your husband. I mean, I love my king, my David, but the Bible does not instruct the wife to love the husband, but he does instruct the wife to reverence and respect her husband. So the husband is the initiator of love. And so there's a book, if you're interested in reading up on it, it's called the love she wants and the respect he deserves. And you can see it's a cycle. So if things are going haywire in your life, you be the one to initiate the love respect cycle. Meaning that if you feel like you're not being loved, and there is no one answer, but it's worth giving it a shot, especially since God in his word told you this. So this is not Gia giving you advice or Lifestyle of the Believer. This is the word of God telling husbands to love their wives, and wives reverence and respect your husband. So if you feel like he's not giving you love, right? It has to start somewhere. So you be the one to start the love respect cycle and respect him. Treat him like a king. Okay, and when I say treat him like a king, cook his meals, make sure you help him with his clothing, and make sure that you honor him, and make sure you ask his opinion, and tell him what's going on, and ask him to give you advice. And men love to solve problems, and make him the king, like make him feel regal, make him feel royal, respect him. Never disrespect him in public. If you disagree, just don't ever make him look bad. And I hope this is helping somebody. I don't know. But make him feel like a king. Respect him. And you'll be surprised. All of a sudden, he's going to start loving on you. And he's going to start making you feel good. And he's going to start doing things that you enjoy and that you want. And the opposite way, if you feel that she's not respecting you, start loving her. Try loving her, and I'm not like intentionally showing her love. And that could be whatever her love language is. So I don't know what the love language is that your wife has, but start loving her and making her feel good. If her love language is gifts, you married her, so go out there and get her some gifts, get her some flowers. If her love language is affection, start touching her and making her feel good about herself. If her love language is acts of service, then you need to go out and you need to do something. Go and clean the dishes, go and mow the lawn, do something, but love her. And when you show her that love, some women, I've heard women say like, all you gotta do is wash the dishes. Wash the dishes, and Lord have mercy, you gonna get some respect. Okay, so and I'm gonna leave that right there. Yes, I'm gonna set that right there, and you let me know how she responds to your love or how he responds to your respect. And the last thing I want to say is just that marriage is not a contract. And I think in our lives, in our society, we have so many, contractual relationships. And I just want to remind you that marriage is not a contract. Marriage is a covenant. And so a contract is kind of like, if you, then I will. Or when you, then I will. So when you pay this deposit, we will turn on the lights. When you pay this thing, then you can, when you sign this paper, then you can take the car. When you do this, that's a contract. It's an if, then, or when, then, right? That's not what marriage is. Marriage is based on love. And so marriage says, I will do this. Period. Right? When you stood and you took your vows, there was no, if you do this, then I will do this. I will love you and I will honor you and I will cherish you. I will do this and I will do that. So whether the other person does their part, that shouldn't negate the fact that you should still do your part. Now, let's not be ridiculous, right? Let's understand that there are times when you're going to have to sit down and talk about it and say, okay, here's what I would like for you to do, or here's what you said that you were going to do and you're not doing it, and this is how I feel right now. But the point is that it's not a contract. So you can't say she's not cleaning the dishes or she's not cooking, so I'm not doing this. It's not a contract. It's a covenant that is based on love. And when you stood before God and you stood before the witnesses, whoever they may be, you made a covenant with him or her and God. And it's the three of you that makes the covenant when you stand before God. So when you break your covenant, you're breaking your covenant not only with that person, but you're also breaking your covenant with God, because you said before God and these witnesses before God, this is what I will do. No ifs, no when, just that I love you so much. And I want you just to reflect back on that day when you made that commitment, how happy you were, how you planned for this day, because this day symbolized the beginning of your life together. How much love you had in your heart for him or her and whoever it was. And you stood and you made a commitment. And you were willing to stand before the world and tell everybody how much you love this awesome man or this beautiful princess bride that you have. And you didn't make a contract. You made a covenant. And so I want you to honor your covenant before God. So that's what I have for us tonight in our pre-prime. And I know that being married young, it's not anything new, but it does have its challenges. But with God, you can make marriage work. And I think in terms of like the enemy attacking primes, like definitely he attacks those that are dating, because he makes you feel like you can't keep yourself and you can't be single and still serve God. And I want you to know that that is a lie from the pit of hell, and that's how he tries to attack you. And then when you're young, you get married, the enemy tries to get in the middle of your marriage any which way he can. He'll bring the ex-girlfriend, he will bring the mother, he'll bring the daddy, he'll bring the job, he'll bring everything. But you two have to stand together as a united front and say, we are going to make this work. Why? Because we believe in love and we believe that God has put us together. I want to also talk to those who are married and you're like, I got married and I love this man, but right now I'm trying to serve God and he is not. And I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I don't know how long this series is going to go on, but I definitely want to hit some of these topics that you've asked about and questioned about. But I pray that tonight was a blessing to you. Please share with me. Let me know. And if you know somebody that can benefit from this message, definitely share it with them. I don't mind at all. I'm all about the life. And that is the lifestyle of the believer. All about getting believers to be an example in the world. All about cleaning up our reputation. This is like you know, young adults or whoever are Christians, we've kind of taken a bad rap, and I just want us to kind of clean it up, and let's look at what the lifestyle of the believer really looks like. So God bless you. I'll see you next time. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for inviting me to your homes, in your cars, in your office, wherever you're watching this video. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.